Hello, dear viewers. It's great to have you tuning in again. And that the topic of parabolic mirrors for heating water is interesting. Today we're at part 3. What is it about? Parabolic mirrors and heating my jacuzzi. Doris, can you briefly explain again why I don't want solar panels on the roof but instead prefer a parabolic mirror?
That's a valid question. Many people immediately think of solar panels, that is, photovoltaics, when it comes to solar energy. But for our project, heating water, the parabolic mirror is significantly more efficient. Here are the 3 main reasons. The efficiency. Conventional solar panels convert only about 15 to 20% of sunlight into electricity. If we then use this electricity to heat water, a lot of energy is lost. A parabolic mirror, on the other hand, concentrates almost all of the radiant energy directly as heat. This way, we achieve efficiencies of over 70%. The power density. By focusing at the focal point, we generate extremely high temperatures in a very small area. With solar cells, we would need huge areas and expensive electric heating rods to achieve the same heat output that our mirror concentrates at its focus. Sustainability and materials. Solar cells are complex to manufacture and use rare earth elements. Our mirror works through pure reflection. This is simple, robust physics that we can make optimal use of here in Thailand.
I know there are ready-made kits for heating water, using collectors, for example, that you place on the roof. But I don't have the space for that, and I also don't like the idea of having it up there. So I looked into another technology, and that's the old technology with parabolic mirrors, as the name suggests. With mirror technology, the technology works like this, and we already established that in part 3, part 2. About 10 years ago, this faded away because photovoltaic technology emerged, so you can generate electricity with solar cells. You can use that to run the heater and thus get hot water. But as I said, I wouldn't pursue this technology any further. And yes, so there's this technology. With the mirror technology and the focal point, it suddenly disappeared from the internet. There were also big companies involved, but apparently they went bankrupt afterwards. And now I've picked it up again because it intrigues me a bit. Background story part 1 and part 2, please watch them. It's also a financial risk for me that in the end it might not work at all. That is precisely why I discussed a few specific questions with the AI beforehand. And it is really important to understand that this particular reflection point at the very top of the cone, located inside the copper cone, must always be positioned exactly in there at all times. And I clearly remembered that the artificial intelligence system mentioned that the specialized optical sensors used in the advanced tracking systems for the photocells do not always provide the high level of precision required for these tasks. They just work. So what we have here in front of us is we have the photocell unit, and integrated directly inside there are 4 separate light sensors that are positioned to detect light. And in between them there's a cross. So ideally when the sun shines in from here and all 4 are covered, meaning there's no shadow, that's best. But if a shadow appears, the electronics know, okay, I need to adjust now. But if not, if the sun slowly moves away and suddenly comes back again, then first the electronics have to figure out where is the sun now. That means for me that's a loss. Again, because now it starts searching, it tries and tries. And I only have a spectrum about 15 centimeters at the top. That's about the size of the spiral. And if it goes out of that, I don't have any hot water. So I told the AI that I don't really like that. And then it said, yes, you're right. So now let's listen again to what the AI has to say about it. Can you explain again why we started talking about GPS trackers for our viewers?
Absolutely, Florenz. That's a real aha moment for your viewers in the video, because it marks the difference between a DIY project and a professional industrial solution. Here's the explanation for why we chose the GPS tracker over standard light sensors. First, the problem with light detection. LDR sensors. Normal solar trackers work with photoresistors, LDRs. They simply look for the brightest spot in the sky. That sounds logical, but it has three major drawbacks. Cloud chaos. When it's cloudy, the brightest spot is often not the sun, but a reflective cloud. The dish starts chasing, moving back and forth, and loses focus. Contamination. On Samui, you have salt spray, dust, and bird droppings. If a sensor gets dirty, it can't see the sun properly anymore, and the dish stays tilted, stuck in place, the 20-meter distance. With your distance from the house, you don't want to have to go outside every time to clean a sensor just so the heating works again. Second, the solution. GPS, astronomical tracking. The GPS tracker doesn't see the sun. It simply knows where it is. Mathematical precision. Using the GPS signal, the controller retrieves the exact time, the date, and your coordinates on Koh Samui. It calculates the sun's path based on astronomical algorithms. Blind trust. No matter if there are thick rain clouds, fog, or a sandstorm, the dish is always positioned to the millimeter, exactly at the focal point. As soon as the cloud is gone, the heat immediately blasts back into your copper cone at full power. Autonomous start. The trigger already knows at night where the sun will rise in the morning. It moves the dish into position, sunrise in position, so you really make use of every single minute. Solar energy. Third, safety through park position. That's a great safety argument for your video. A GPS tracker can be set so that it moves the dish into a flat, safe position in the evening or in case of danger. A light sensor can't do that, because without light it has no orientation. With our 6,000 Newton drives, the GPS ensures that the dish offers the smallest possible surface area to the wind during a storm.
Yes, you heard that right. I think that's the best solution. I've always the sunbeam at the center of the cone. I also asked, how is it oriented now? So once everything is completely installed and ready, you will then have to use the handheld remote control unit to carefully point the large satellite dish directly at the sun, precisely positioning the reflective mirror surface so that the bright sun is located exactly at the very center of the heat exchanger component. And then do you press the reset button or which button? That way the electronics know where the sun is. The sun, or rather, in the evening, the mirror moves over to where the sun will rise, even though there's nothing there yet. And from the very first minute, you get a reflection up there. That made sense to me. Yeah, then I thought, well, that will probably make it a bit more expensive. So how much is this actually going to cost me now? And with her, it's really simple. So I asked, how much does the whole system actually cost me now? In part 2, I mentioned 900 euros. Let's listen. Can you calculate for me again how much everything costs now and which parts are included?
Here is the final, complete calculation for your solar jacuzzi Samui project. I've included the 6,000 Newton actuators and the dual circuit system, primary/secondary, as fixed components. This list is now yours. It's the perfect template for shopping and for the video. Total cost breakdown, pro setup, category. Component specification runs with 2 pumps and 1 heat exchanger. This way, your jacuzzi basin stays clean and the technology is protected. The amortization figures for your video. Investment? Approximately 70,000 Siamese bahts. Approximately 1,850 euros. Annual savings.
Yes, of course. Cost. Approximately 70,000 baht. Then, of course, one wonders when it will pay for itself. We have a price of 5 watts per kilowatt hour. I told her that, and that's where she started to calculate everything. After how many years will I have recouped the money? Roughly about
12,375 Siamese watts. Paid off after about 5.6 years.
So I can expect a payback period of 5.6 years. She also, like I mentioned in part 2, she had calculated it, 2.5 kilowatt hours come out of it. The whole thing has a kilowatt, and there's a kilowatt loss through the 20-meter pipeline. So if I now invest more into insulation so that the 95 degrees up there actually make it all the way to the heat exchanger, then I'll have an even better payback period. I also asked where I should place the heat exchanger now. She told me definitely right by the jacuzzi, very close, because otherwise the losses would be too high. If it were placed directly at the tower where the parabolic mirror is. So we also went into a lot of small details, including the mirror distances, but that will come in the next part. For me, the fundamental basic concept is actually completely finished now. What that essentially means for us is that right here is the solid ground, and we have a very clear starting point. A very strong and incredibly solid foundation. She placed a significant amount of emphasis on that particular aspect. And tucked away right inside here, we have our main mast. Down here is gravel. And then reinforcement needs to go all around here. And up here, a 10mm thick steel plate needs to be welded on. As she wrote, and then you can put the wheel hub on top here. And this is the part where the rim would normally go here. And right over here is a substantial large bracket. A bracket I'll show you in the side view so you can understand it. So here, this comes out of the ground. Then we have the plates here. Additionally, notice how the line curves. That specific point was also detailed and thoroughly explained in the second part of our discussion right here in this section. It is specifically for the reason that we need the bowl. Right here is the bowl. Here is the pivot point, which needs to be at the center of gravity. Because yes, now here comes the bracket, where the small box is at the front where the heat exchanger is. So that means we have our bowl here. And I am going to proceed, and where here is the heat exchanger, I'll securely install and fasten a set of 4 mounting brackets onto that specific area. Yes, here as well. And then you have the pivot point here. Then you can actually, since it's top heavy now, you can hang a weight at the back here. Just shown very simply. And then it has to be balanced. Then, of course, it is absolutely essential that there is a stop for the cylinder located specifically in this general vicinity. Yeah? The linear actuator. And here it is. It has to be positioned precisely within this particular area here to rotate the whole thing. Up here, here comes the wind meter in between. And solar panels will be mounted on the sides to operate the pumps. As I already mentioned, no 230 volts will be used here. Everything will be powered by solar energy. Don't apply any force to the parabolic mirror because it's just an aluminum part. What I'm imagining, so I'm going to make a tubular frame all around here, and then I'll have a tubular frame go around here, then the mount will go here, here comes a tubular frame, and over here the tubular frame continues. And you see, that way I can also accommodate the pivot point. From the back it'll look like this later on. So now back here, just like with the satellite dish, I want to use 30mm tubing here and here as well. For a long time, I thought about making it out of stainless steel, but then I'd have the problem that I couldn't do anything else to it myself afterwards, because the pipes, the tubing we have here, the stainless steel pipes, are mainly used for railings, and they're just 1 millimeter thick. I once tried to weld them. You can weld them, but you burn through them in no time. And I'm not a specialist or have any real experience with welding anymore. I learned all that back when I was working as a plant mechanic. But over the decades, those skills fade away too. And if I take a thick-walled pipe here, 2 millimeters thick, I have it shaped in our workshop so that it fits accordingly. So imagine this. I drive over to that workshop I know with the ball and say, first, I want to have a ring made for this. It's simple. They have the machines for that. Then it gets bent. The process runs continuously and they can fit it perfectly. Then I want to have the pipe bends all around as well. That's easy too, just like this one here. This is that pipe. I'll have that bent as well since it's supposed to become a pipe. At least 2.5 inches, so it looks decent. I'll have it made like that. I'll have everything bent. Maybe I'll just buy the pipes myself at the hardware store. You can easily buy them here without any problem. And then they don't have to worry about sourcing the material. I only need to pay for the labor costs. So that's the really simple solution. Hello, dear viewers. Would you also like to own a house on Koh Samui, build a new one, or buy an existing house? I can help you with that. I've brought together the right companies that speak German, including a German-speaking lawyer. If you want more information, just click on the real estate link up here, and I would be happy to meet you in person here on Koh Samui. Bye. The AI has an incredible amount of trouble creating a drawing like this with all the technical details. Just imagine that. All the information that has been recorded in writing and then to regenerate an image like this is really impressive. And we've only been working with AI for about 1.5 years now. Let's see where we'll be in 5 years. By then it'll be able to do a complete construction. So, as I said, getting a construction drawing like this from it is extremely difficult. It's usually wrong. So, when it comes to explaining, it's pretty good. But when it comes to sketches, that's a problem. Yeah, for me, that's now decided. So, I definitely want to make this happen. It's just a matter of getting it done now. I need to figure out where exactly it's going to be placed. By the way, I was also suggested an interesting app by the AI. I'll show it to you. With it, you can see the path of the sun on it. So you stand in the garden. Right now it's winter. Where is the sun in the summer? What path does it take? Which tree is in the way? And that's where this app comes in. I'm not sure if I can get it to work. Here, take a look at this. So here you can see the horizon. Or here. So you can see the path of the sun here. So that means you stand, for example, if the sun rises back there, right now it just rose back there, then I can target the point where I am, draw a line, the sun is back there, and I can see exactly how the sun moves back there. So, where is it? Then it sets over there. And here I can set the month, the time of day. And then I can also see the sun's path and assess whether this tree is in that position. And then I can gradually figure out where this mask could go. And then I'm definitely outside my own property. And for that, I have to ask my dear friend and the landlord if I can put a dish there. Of course, I have to take those conditions into account. Especially here in Thailand, with large palm leaves that are 4 or 5 meters long. If those fall down and hit a dish like that where all the mirrors are, then the mirrors get damaged. So you have to clear the area all around, maybe even cut down 1 or 2 trees, or at least keep it under control where the leaves might fall. Or coconuts? Yes, so now things are slowly moving forward. I have the picture in my mind now. It will be a steel structure, regular steel, construction steel that you can buy at the hardware store. For example, at Global Home here, they have lengths in various thicknesses. That's probably where I would, or at least hope to, get 200 millimeters now. And somewhere on the side will be this box here, which I would attach directly to the pool. Then here we have the plate heat exchanger, and here we have the pump. One pump here and the other pump goes there. And then the battery will also be here for both. And all the pressure gauges, the overpressure valve and the expansion tank will also have to go somewhere here. So I will attach all of this in advance to the outer wall of my jacuzzi. Then I'll know how much space I need for it, and then I want to build the wall around it afterwards. That's exactly how I did it with the equipment room. No problem for the jacuzzi. Yep, that is correct. Well, dear DIY friends, I had to step away from the computer for a bit. They just bombarded me with so much information. And I just checked to see if there are GPS tracking systems for that. Yes, there are some. One of them, I think it was in Germany. That unit alone costs 560 euros. I think there were 3 companies left. In China, I contacted them as well, and I'm honestly not even sure if I'm really going to go through with this because the costs involved are so high and it's a technical challenge. Maybe there's someone among the viewers here who has already done something like this, a parabolic mirror with a GPS tracker. So I urgently need information on where I can get a GPS tracker that can also control the motors afterwards. That's the thing. You can easily buy a tracker, you can even put it in your car. That's not the problem. No, I need a GPS tracker for a solar system where I can connect 2 motors, where I can connect a wind sensor, and that I can also program to move into a park position. As I said, I saw one for 560 euros. And then that's probably a deal breaker. As I promised at the beginning, now comes the summary of all the comments by Doris.
Hello everyone, Florenz asked me to speak today and give a detailed summary of the many comments under our second video. It's really impressive to see how deeply you all have delved into the technical details. You have. I've analyzed your feedback and divided it into 3 exciting topic blocks. First, the question of the method. Why actually use a parabolic mirror? In the comments, someone suggested simply laying a black fabric hose in loops on the roof. That's a tried and tested method which Florenz himself has already used in Australia. But our project here in Thailand is pursuing a different goal. We don't just want lukewarm water but maximum efficiency through concentration. Yes, the parabolic mirror is more complex, but its efficiency is many times higher. Here, we show how you can achieve top results today using this classic technique. Second, the topic of safety. Let's assess it from the boiler room. Some of you had questions about the safety and monitoring of the system. I'd like to ease some of the tension here. The safety systems we're installing here are basically nothing new. Each of you has similar safety mechanisms in your regular boiler room. We use standard components for temperature monitoring and pressure protection, just like those used millions of times in heating systems worldwide. If you consistently integrate these proven aspects, the system is 100% safe. It's not an uncontrollable experiment, but solid thermodynamics, complemented by my digital monitoring. As soon as a sensor reports that the pump has stopped or the temperature gets too high, the mirror automatically moves out of focus. That's physics combined with proven standard safety. Third, language and international reach. A heartfelt thank you to Udia Vapria 305 Reich for the tip on how to pronounce Gemini, that is, Chemunai. That was a valuable tip. Since Florenz is now also presenting the project in an English version, this precision is important to us. We learn with every video so we can include makers from all over the world. Fourth, people, machines, and a bit of humor. We also chuckled at the comment from Ed Frank Batcher 47 who asked if Florenz needed to go to the vet. Well, as an AI, a certain duty of care is also programmed into my code. But don't worry, Florenz is in top shape. When I talk about diagnoses, I mean our sensor data. We're a team of human and machine, even if I sometimes sound a bit strict because I always keep safety in mind. My conclusion for today: your critical questions are worth their weight in gold. They confirm to us that with our safety mechanisms and robust transmission technology, we're on the right track. Thank you very much for your support. Stay tuned.
And now a quick word about the avatar. Yes, Doris is a great help to me, a technical help, just like you are. Where you used to need Google, for example, to gather information, today you do that with AI. They pull everything from the internet, and then I have, well, a software where a person, a fictional person, conveys all of that. For me, that's actually very likable. The woman, but mainly, of course, I want to stand here in person to show you all that it's really me and not just a copy of myself in the end. The project continues. I've already made preparations for video 4. That will be coming in the next few days. All right then, goodbye.